Hey everyone, this is the last kind of concept that you'll need to learn before the midterm. Again, you'll have plenty of time, and before we start this video, it might be good to refer to your worksheets, including I think on page 14, 15, about how circle fits are explained. I do have other additional handouts that I will pass out to you that you can store on your computer as a review. I also will include, as you're studying and getting ready for your midterm, the winter terms midterm. I'll give that to you for you to practice on, and so you know exactly what to expect. So it really is a way for you to benchmark and make sure that you understand each concept from anywhere from naming notes to rhythm and to major scales with the key signatures. That's all you need to know. And so once you review that, I'll have the answers put out for you in a class email. So look for that. So here we go, circle of fifths. Well, I explained to you major scales, right? You can construct them using no key signatures. And it's on your worksheet there where it says major scales, where you have a starting note and you go up, which means ascending to the octave, and then down. I don't ask you to put a key signature for it. I want you to add sharps and flats so you know which ones need to be applied. Later on in the major scale worksheets, you notice that it goes into this here, and I'm gonna show it to you, okay? This is called key signatures worksheet number 1. You notice that it's a series of key signatures, so left blank. What I want you to do by the letters here is simply tell me what key you're in. That tells me that you know how to identify it. Remember, the last sharp, we go by half step. There's 2 of them. It's on the C sharp line. You can't really read it here, but that's the key of D. This one right down below here on number 11 is blank. Don't think that I forgot something. If something's blank, that's the key of C major, right? So you're going to see some of those in time. The next one here, and the last one of the major scale worksheets, looks like this, okay? It's a series of letters underneath the number here, A. I want you to create the key of A major and what that looks like. But I haven't got to that point as to how to construct that. And that's where the circle fifths really come into handy, okay? So what I have on the board here is a blank circle. And I would like you to grab maybe pause it for a minute, but grab just a blank piece of paper. And I want you to do exactly what I'm doing here. Remember, if you follow me in my construction, how I do things, you'll be successful. So, circle of fifths. Why do we call that? Well, it has to do with going up 5 and down 5 fifths, okay? And this circle of fifths here is a major wheel, as they call it, of circle of fifths. It's a way to kind of identify and to create it as a model of saying what key I'm in and how to figure out how many sharps it uses and how many flats. And it has to deal with notches, okay? So what I want you to do next to right here, I want you to put up these letters. These series of letters here, oops, the F doesn't look that great, is the series of sharps. So these letters represent the series of sharps. And the best way to remember that is a silly acronym that's kind of used universally, okay? You ready? So every letter that's represented here will state a word. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds. I taught a semester in London, and I had a friend named John, and he said, no, James, it's actually Father Christmas gave Dad an electric blanket. Okay, well, I'm probably not going to use that because, first of all, my British accent's horrible. Anyway, so here it is. Fat cats going down alley eating birds, all right? So this series of letters here represent the order of sharps. It's actually really easy to remember because that silly acronym that I just taught you. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds, all right? Notice that there's 7 of them. How many sharps can we have in a series of key signatures? 7. Why? Because there's 7 different letters in the musical alphabet. So how many flats can you have total? 7. Is there an order of flats? There is. Do I have to remember this and memorize something differently? Actually not. Fat cats go down alley eating birds is all you really need to know. So what I like to do is draw an arrow like this and say, hey, this is the order of sharps that I'm using this way. So how do you think we figure out for the order of flats? Is it really that simple? And hopefully you're getting there. You just run it backwards. So the order of flats go this way. And there's ways of memorizing them, like battle ends at whatever. I don't even remember that because all I need to remember is fat cats go down alley eating birds because it sets into place the order of flats this way. So if you need to pause it right now and review that, now's a good time to do that. So I hope you have that piece of paper and that you're following directions. Fat cats go down alley eating birds sets the place for all orders of sharps, okay? By running that way, I run to the left, I have the order of flats. That's all you need to have, okay? The next part here is what I call a series of notches. Some people refer to this as clock, but you know, a clock has up to 11 o'clock, and in the order of sharps and flats, we don't go up to 11, we only go up to 7 the most. So I created a thing called notches. I think it's easier to remember, okay? The notches are gonna go here, okay? So how many notches can we have for orders of sharps? 7. Which way do you think we should go on the notches? Clockwise, okay? Maybe you don't guess that, you couldn't remember that in long term, but just know you take the R in the word sharp and think right of the first notch. The first notch here is going to be that 0 position. So the first notch here is a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5, 6, and 7. So at the most we can have 7 sharps, right? So we're going to have 7 notches. So what do these numbers represent? What do they mean, okay? That fat cats go down alley eating birds represents how many sharps you're going to use for key signatures. Do you remember the particular major scale that has no sharps and no flats? It was C major. C major has no sharps and no flats. So guess what? That's going to go up here. We have a reference point. We have a starting point. The whole purpose of circle of fifths, and maybe you can use a keyboard on page 3 or that little handout that I've given you already, which has a keyboard kind of blown up as a way of a guide, okay? And the key of C major has no sharps and no flats, right? So the whole purpose of circle of fifths is to count up 5. Well, the best way to do that is know that C is 1 and count up 5 on that keyboard or with your hands using the musical alphabet. C, D, E, F, G. G is going to go at the 1 notch. What does that mean? What does 1 notch mean? 1 notch means 1 sharp. Why? It's because it's to the right of C. So in the key of G major, it uses 1 sharp, but how do we know which one? Well, it's the first sharp here, the F. You see what's happening? So C major, no sharps, no flats. 1 notch equals 1 sharp. Let's figure out what happens at the 2 notch, okay? Starting on G, we count up 5 again. Get it? Circle of fifths. G, A, B, C, D. Now, if you went G and you started on G and went A, B, C, D, E, you got off on 1. Why? Because the starting note is going to be 1, the G, right? G, A, B, C, D. D uses 2 sharps. What 2 sharps are we going to use? Well, it starts from the beginning, the F and the C. Why? Because a half step above C sharp is D. Okay? I hope you're getting it. So we go around the clock. 5 up from D, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. I've been teaching these videos all on one day, so my brain's a little fried, but hopefully you'll get it. All right, so A uses 3 sharps. What are they? The first 3, F, C, G. So we always start over and work back. That's how we know the order of sharps and how to apply that on there, okay? Go up 5, starting on A, you get to know E. Remember I explained earlier, E major had 4 sharps. This helps us as a tool guide to kind of say, oh, we can use these notches to represent the sharps in this case, and the notches it uses flats on the other side. 5 up from E is B. B major has five on notches here, it uses 5 sharps. What are they? Fat cats go down alley. Okay, we have 2 more to do. The last 2 series of sharps that you key signatures have sharp names to them. Remember I talked about that. Some key signatures, you have a bunch of sharps to it and will have a sharp name to them. Why? Because in the key signature, that sharp has already been applied on that note. And the key of F sharp major has 6 sharps. What are they? F, C, G, D, A, E. F sharp has already been applied sharp. So when we start on the piano, we have to play an F sharp to begin with, and F sharp to end with. C sharp major, I explained that earlier. C sharp major has 7 sharps at the most. So we're done with this order, okay? So let me review this. Fat cats go down alley eating birds. What does that mean? It means that's the order of sharps. These letters that represent on the far right here are the order of sharps when you run starting with the F to the B. So now we can look on our keyboard and figure that out. We use this particular thing here. I didn't know that went down like that, but anyway, we use this model as a way, as a quick reference guide to figure out things. Remember, once you learn the circle of fifths, which is a tough thing to grasp at first, it's the crux of the class. We use this for the minor and major, and it goes into a full model scale that we can understand everything forever and ever. It's really, really cool concept, but you gotta grasp it. It's the crux of the class. Okay, so now we're figuring out flats, all right? So remember, the term circle of fifths refers to down 5, up 5. That's what it means. What is that starting point in the key of C major? No sharps, no flats. That's why it sits at that top, okay? Has no notches. It's sitting there right in this top there. So the notches are now gonna go, for flats, we're gonna run it around this way. There's 3rd notch, 4th notch. The 5th notch happens to share the same space as the 7th notch. So these bottom notches will actually share. And depending on what side of the wheel you're coming from will determine if you're using flats or sharps, okay? So looking at your little keyboard that I've handed out to you, or on page 3 as a reference guide, flats are gonna go down 5 as opposed to sharps. So take the L in the word flat and think left or down, okay? So we have to figure out what's going on here. Now we're using flats, right? So we're not gonna be ordering this way for sharps. We're gonna be running it this way. So we wanna figure out what key signature uses 1 flat, that's to say the B, okay? 5 down from C, starting on C, is what letter? C, B, A, G, F. F major has 1 flat. Why? Because it's 1 notch away from C to the left. What flat is that going to be? It's going to be the B, right? Remember, we're running it this way, running it left. Okay, F major is a very special key. So if I were to write out the key signature for F major, it would look like that. It would have a flat note or a symbol on the B line. What's really special and really important to understand is F major, you can apply that way of reading the key signature by covering up the second to last flat because there's only one of them. It's the only one you have to memorize in your head. F major is a special key because it's the only key signature that uses a flat, 1 in this case, but doesn't have a flat name associated with it, okay? Just like the sharps. Why are these called C sharp and F sharp? It's because they have sharps that are applied already in the key signature, and so their name has to be applied as a sharp name. All the other ones here do not. So what's special about F major, uses 1 flat, but doesn't have a flat name. We don't say F flat major, we just say F, okay? So all the other key signatures here, when they use the order of sharps, flats, are gonna have a flat name associated with it. That's an easy way to remember. F major is special. No sharps, 1 flat, okay, not a flat name. 5 down from F is what letter? B. Now remember, B has already been used here, so we can't have B twice. B flat major has 2 flats. How do we know that? Because it sits 2 notches away. B to E is the 2 flats that's needed for that key signature. You take away the E, we land on B flat for the key, okay? So around the horn we go. I'll explain what's happening down below here. Okay? The order of flats. Notice that all have a flat name associated with it or flat symbol to it. B flat major has 2 flats. E flat major, I explained earlier, had 3 flats. Do you see the difference? Remember, E major had 4 sharps. If E flat major has 3 flats, it's completely different. They sit on completely different sides of the circle of fifths model. Okay? Notice that D flat major shares the same space as C sharp major. Inharmonically, which I explained earlier, inharmonically in your booklet are notes that are written differently but sound the same. So a D flat on the piano sounds the same as C sharp, okay? That's inharmonic notes. They're written differently, but they sound the same. The same thing goes for key signatures. For the key signatures, inharmonically, they'll sound the same, but they're written differently. And here it is. D flat major uses 5 flats, but it sounds the same as if I were to write the key signature for C sharp major, 7 sharps. So you tell me which key is easier to play in if we were doing that as a piano lesson. D flat major, okay? Now I know you say, well, can't you just do both? No, remember, you can use sharps or flats, and that's it. You pick what key you want to play in. If it wants to have the same tonality as C sharp or D flat, you pick what key. D flat major, 5 flats, or C sharp major, 7 sharps. It's up to you, right? But you have to know the difference according to the wheel. Same thing goes, right? F sharp major has 6 sharps. Well, G flat major has 6 flats, right? They sound the same, but they're written differently when you look at it visually on the piece of music that you're playing. Same thing goes for B flat and C flat. They sound the same, but they're written differently. B major has 5 sharps. C flat major has 7 flats. So I hope this helps you out. And I would encourage you to review this particular video over and over and over again till you really start understanding it. What I would encourage you to do is grab another blank piece of paper and try to do this from memory based upon the method that I taught you. And here's the method, okay, before I take off for today. Fat cats go down alleys eating birds. What is that? A silly acronym that we remember the order of sharps. We run it the opposite way. It's the order of flats. We create a circle of fifths. What does that mean? It means going up 5 or down 5 from a center tonal particular key. C. C major has no sharps and no flats. These notches represent how many sharps and how many flats that you use. Okay, it's a model that we use. All right. So here's the last little curveball question I'll throw at you. How many key signatures can you have for major scales? Is it 14? Is that what you came up with? Why? Because there's 7 sharps total and 7 flats total? Yes, but there's one other key that uses no sharps and no flats. And what is that? C. So at the most, you can have 15 different key signatures for major scales. And that goes for minor scales as well. So hang tight, do lots of reviewing on this, and you have plenty of time before that midterm. And I'll be happy to answer questions. Shoot me a message if you need to at jwknox, K-N-O-X, at cocc.edu. And if you need to, I'll be happy to talk to you as well, and I'll give you my mobile number so that we can have an in-depth conversation if that's what you need. I'm happy to help you out. All right, take care, and happy music fundamentals.